passing him and beating him, it feels like you won a championship. It really does.
I learned never to leave the inside open. Yeah, it was really frustrating, but it is what it is.
Welcome to Edge Parts and Performance Methanol Madness. We're on the final countdown to opening night at the Racecourse Hotel and Motor Lodge Ruapuna Speedway. As usual, I'm joined by author and commentator AJ Back.
Hi Craig, and you can just feel the anticipation building, can't you?
Yeah, it's certainly just 2 days away at this stage, and we're all looking forward to it. I'm also joined by Louise Smith, our quarter midget and TQ expert. You were very busy in the weekend, Louise.
Yes, we kicked off the Mike Greer Holmes Nelson Quarter Midget Series with a 19-car turnout, so that was fantastic to kick-start the season.
Yeah, we'll cover that a little bit later in the show as well. And just getting on to news at Ruapuna, AJ, we've got a new promotion, Introduce a Family to Speedway. That seems to be going pretty well.
Yeah, what a great idea it is. Like for a long time, Ruapuna Speedway, perhaps one of the best kept secrets in the city, but what an opportunity, introduce some new people to the sport. They may just love it.
Yeah, that's a great promotion, and what we've done is we've sent out 100 family passes to all the schools in the Rolleston area, and with a bit of luck we'll get a good turnout of new families coming to Speedway. Other news, we've got another promotion going, Louise, the Melrose Motorsport Kart giveaway. Tell us a wee bit about that.
It's a great way to just get new kids to participate in the sport and introduce them into kind of what life is like to be a driver on the inside of the track.
So how the Melrose Motorsport Kart Challenge works is 3 competitors each week will get a chance to go around our skill course in the infield at Ruapuna. And if you happen to be the fastest going around that skill course without knocking over the cones, you'll advance to the final at the end of the year. And if you're the fastest on that day, you'll get to keep the kart. So our competitors for this week are, AJ, who have we got there?
We've got Lockie Honeywell, Isabella Hendry and Ryan Gallagher. They're the first cabs off the rank for the Melrose Motorsport Kart Challenge.
Hey, that's great. And if you're at the track about 5:40, that challenge happens then just before racing. And Lockie Honeywell, that's a familiar name. I wonder if he's related to Matt.
Bound to be.
Well, opening night is almost here and the sprint cars return for the Dalton Sprint Car Summer Slam, as well as the Avon City Ford King of the Clay featuring midgets, TQs, modified sprints, quarters and V6 wingless sprints. There's plenty of giveaways at the track and there's lots of entertainment for you and the family. Opening night, 29th of October at the Racecourse Hotel and Motor Lodge Ruapuna Speedway. Gates open at 4:30 and the dirt starts flying at 6.
Okay, time to look at Crash of the Week, and this is brought to us by KH Fabrication. If you break it, he'll fix it. And we're looking at Bay Park here, AJ, and rookie driver Ayrton Hodson was competing for the first time. He gets into that corner fairly loose, tries to correct himself, and whoomfa, Matthew Levisage had nowhere to go.
Yeah, nowhere to go, and Hodson, he just went in there a wee bit hot, didn't he, and turned it around. Wrong place, wrong time for Matthew Levisage, inflicted quite a bit of damage to the 78 car, so unfortunately he got tied up in someone else's mess. Very fast racetrack on Saturday night.
Yeah, the racing was impressive in the sprint cars and the midgets, which we'll look at later, but just having a final look there, yeah, that's frightening for Matthew Levisage. Nowhere to go, you can't correct, you've just got a car coming towards you, and I think they took out a front end and probably some chassis damage as well. Major sponsor of the show is Edge Parts and Performance, and it's time to see what's happening in the store.
The team at Edge Parts and Performance have got safety covered. They're proud stockists of Simpson safety products, helmets, head and neck restraints, harnesses, racing suits, gloves, shoes and more. Simpson safety products provide an unparalleled level of comfort, performance and protection. Come and check out their new range of Simpson suits, lightweight 2-layer SFI approved suits that offers flexibility and functionality all in one. They've also got the Red Devil carbon fibre lightweight racing helmet in stock.
So it's on to meeting review, and no racing at Ruapuna, so we thought we might just take a look at some of the other tracks. Sunday was Ellesmere Speedway. It's always a great day at Ellesmere, and 30 degrees at times. We had 2 classes racing out there. It was the quarter midgets and TQs. Louise, you're at the track. What were your thoughts on the TQs first?
As always, the TQs were really fast, with both heat races being won by competitors that we know are really strong, and Ben Morgan and Jeremy Webb. But in the final race, it would be Scott Bailey that would take the win over Jeremy Webb.
Yeah, that was a real surprise, and it was stunning to watch Scott Bailey put a move on NZ1 Jeremy Webb. He's been formidable for years, and you can't get past Jeremy Webb. So what we might do is just take a close look at the last few laps of that race.
Okay, away and racing. And look at this. Wide down the front straight. But as Jeremy Webb, showing his class, jumps to the lead. And I don't think Ben Morgan can get him from there. Well, there he goes up the inside of car 33. And the white flag. Oh, what's happened to Jeremy Webb? He's run about wide. The excess man of the local man, Scott Bailey, has got the momentum. Look, well, Scott Bailey's having a blinder. He's taken to the front, Scott Bailey, in the access man car. Can he pull up a big upset here on Jeremy Webb? We've got to car 84, sits there in third place, Ben Morgan. I wasn't expecting this from the access man, the local man from Leaston. That is Scott Bailey. He's taken over the running here. Jeremy Webb with the big slider into turns 3 and 4. But no, it's the access man car. He's got the run on him. And it will be Scott Bailey in an upset ahead of Jeremy Webb. In car 1NZ, back in third place will be 84 of Ben Morgan.
As we said before, Jeremy Webb has been an unstoppable force for a number of years, and as expected, Scott Bailey was very pleased.
I went out there and sometimes you just know when the car's hooking up.
Yeah,
and
impressive, mate.
Jeremy got in front of me and I changed my lineup behind him, and doesn't happen very often or ever. I noticed I was catching him and I was just like, crikey, I might have something for him, and I just threw it at it and it just all worked out perfectly.
Well, we haven't seen that in years. Nobody gets past Jeremy Webb once he gets his nose in front. What did it feel like going past him?
Oh, he's 1NZ how many times. Passing him and beating him, it feels like you won a championship. It really does.
So AJ, no surprises, Scott Bailey very pleased with that performance.
Yeah, he should well be one of the nice guys in the TQ class. He's threatened a performance like that for a long time. He really is going to be one of the guys to watch this year. It's the delivery season for Scott Bailey.
Yeah, well, the TQ is going to be very exciting this year. Of course, we've got Jeremy Webb, our NZ number 1, Ben Morgan, who's been a heavyweight driver for a couple of seasons now. Of course, we've got Ricky Brett returning, and now Scott Bailey putting a move on Jeremy Webb. I'm sure Jeremy Webb won't be too pleased about that, but he's good enough to recover from that for sure. Ben Smith was out lapping the 27C car. Just a note, if you're after a TQ, that car's actually up for sale, and Ben did do some pretty stunning lap times. Okay, the other class that was racing at Ellesmere Speedway was our quarter midget class, and there was a big turnout, actually, a good mix of Christchurch and Nelson drivers. Louise, you were running the show. Tell us how it all played out.
It was the first round of the Mike Greer Holmes Nelson Quarter Midget Series, which is a 5-round series that's being held over this season all around the South Island, actually, so it was great to kick that off on a hot sunny day at Ellesmere. The feature was, of course, won by Jack Brownlees, followed by Laken Thompson and Malachi Webb, so it was great to see those three get a strong start in the points.
Yeah, they're all heavyweight quarter midget drivers, and good to see those guys performing well at Ellesmere. Okay, 2 other drivers that were racing out of town were Matthew Levisage and Jack Lowe. Both of those drivers were racing at Bay Park. AJ, thoughts on Jack Lowe?
Yep, pass mark for Jack, and they will give themselves that as well. Certainly on the pace and a talent stacked field, but for a breakage during the feature, they'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, it was pretty high octane, those midgets up at Bay Park, and that's something we can look forward to with the BT for Mates coming here in March of next year. A couple of other standouts in the midgets, Mitch Osborne and Peter Honeybell. I know both of those actually put passes on Michael Pickens, won their heat races, and Mitch Osborne, he's very impressive, very fast.
Yeah, he put on a big showing down here at Ruapuna earlier in the year, and I was really impressed with him. Peter Honeybell, you get what you see with Peter. He is just a real hard-out racer. There's not much to him, but boy, he just gets into it, and big things for him this season.
Yeah, the feature result there was Brad Mosen, Mitch Osborne and Michael Pickens. Some very good racing happening at Bay Park. The sprint cars were impressive as well. Lots happening there. Of course, we've talked about Matthew Levisage's crash, but it's good to watch these sprint cars because, of course, we've got the title coming here in February, and there was a couple of standouts. Daniel Thomas, 3NZ, he won the feature, and he was clearly the best driver there.
Yeah, and the current South Island sprint car champion too, so let's not forget about that. He will be one to keep a good eye on.
Yeah, Matthew Levisage didn't finish the race. He actually had a DNF, but he had that major crash earlier, so there might have been a bit of a hangover with his car. The actual results, Daniel Thomas, 3NZ first. Ryan O'Connor, he's been a great campaigner for years. He got second, and Rodney Wood, man, he was going quick around that track.
Yeah, well, Rodney and his team have been preparing the racetrack, and they've certainly turned Bay Park around track surface-wise.
Well, we looked at Matthew Levisage's crash earlier on in Crash of the Week, but there was another crash that was rather spectacular. Stephen Taylor had an accident with Max Guilford, and it was very spectacular, but understandably Max was a little annoyed with the incident. Let's have a quick look at that. Well, a difficult time for Max Guilford and his team. That was a brand new car going into the season, and they'll be up for a complete rebuild now. Well, a few of our Ruapuna drivers made the big trek down to Central Motors Speedway in the weekend, and the first class we'll look at, AJ, it was Charlene and Kane Jemmett racing.
Very competitive racing down there with the 6-shooters. A lot of young people coming into the sport, and it's a good feeding ground for the sprint car division down there.
So our three drivers from Ruapuna Speedway, Connor Rangi, Jaden Dodge and Dave Kerr, were down at Central Motor Speedway.
Yeah, Dave Kerr and the Springston Hotel team hit the highway down there and got some laps under their belt. Good showing from Dave. It's going to be interesting to see how he goes. One of the older cars. He's one of the older drivers, but he's got a very fresh attitude to it all.
And of course, Connor Rangi had an unfortunate incident in the feature race. He just did one lap, and of course he had an incident with Jaden Dodge, splitting a right rear tyre. And if we have a look here, AJ, we can see that Connor's just trying to poke his nose up there. He had a gap there for a moment. Looks like he ran over a front wing and tore up that right rear tyre.
Yeah, gaps open and close very, very quickly at the pace there. It's one of the fastest speedway tracks in the country, and yet nowhere to go really.
Well, we can see the damage there just with that tyre being split. The cost of tyres these days, mate, that's the last thing you want to be doing. Well, one of the standout quarter midget drivers last year and fan favourites was Malachi Webb. With thanks to ProBen, one of our sponsors, we caught up with the Belfast Flyer.
The quarter midget class at Ruapuna Speedway has been a successful breeding ground for speedway talent, and another driver on the verge of major success is the 10C car of Malachi Webb. He's been racing for 3 seasons and last year had several breakthrough moments, including winning 2 feature races.
One more turn. Brownlees comes in with a little bit of pace there. Malachi Webb will do the business. He takes the feature out from 23 Jack Brownlees.
The young racer from Belfast is expected to be serious competition in the quarter midget class. But like most junior racers, he started out at the back of the field.
Yeah, I started off quite slow. I got lapped like, I think once or twice each time, and then after a few meetings I got lapped once, and then my last mentor race I wasn't getting lapped, and then I was getting better and better, and then I just started getting up to the mid-pack after that.
Despite the slow early start, the talent was obvious, and Malachi did have a chance to take out his first feature win at Nelson 2 seasons ago.
I think that was the race that Jacob and Jack, I think they both started or something, and then I got put to the front and then they were to the back, and then I was leading the whole race until the last corner.
A white flag fever struck the rookie driver just half a lap out from home.
I learnt never to leave the inside open. It was really frustrating, but it is what it is.
With the help of his dad Jeremy, they kept pushing forwards and took a road trip to Western Springs with some promising results.
I got 2 seconds in heats, and I think I got a 6th or a 7th in the features.
So after competing in the high-octane environment of Springs Speedway, our then 12-year-old racer returned home with a few more laps under his belt and a growing confidence.
Yeah, it was great getting lots of racing in and just a small amount of time, like meeting after meeting, and it was just really enjoyable.
Late in the season last year, a double-header meeting was held and all the parts clicked for the young racer.
And a battle on at the front of the field, it's 10. Malachi Webb has just got his nose in front coming out of the first turn. Malachi Webb might just hold a slight edge at the moment, but it'll be 10. Malachi Webb who takes the win from Jack Brownlee.
And to confirm his first night's success wasn't a fluke, Malachi found himself leading the feature the very next meeting.
Malachi Webb just a car length out in front of Jack Brownlee.
And he had to keep telling himself,
The last lap, me just saying, don't let him through, don't let him through, and Yeah, it was great, just going past the checkered flag in first.
Malachi Webb will do the business. He takes the feature out from 23 Jack Brownlee.
2 features in a row helped the likeable driver prove to himself he was more than capable, and he continues to look forwards to a future in the senior classes.
I want to race sprint cars or midgets, but we'll probably go to a TQ and then see what happens after that.
But he's young enough to still look up to his heroes.
Liam McCoubrey, Matthew Levisage, Jack Lowe and Jamie Duff.
On top of learning the discipline of patience and humility, Malachi gets to spend plenty of time with his dad Jeremy.
Yeah, it's fun, it was really enjoyable, me and him just working on the car together, listening to music.
So when can we see the 10C quarter midget racing next?
29th of October, opening night for King of the Clay. That'll be the first time I'll be racing at Ruapuna.
So if you're at the track on opening night, make sure you say g'day to the next up and coming quarter midget driver who is sure to be at the pointy end of racing this year.
Okay folks, it's giveaway time, and last week the Southern Sprint Car Series gave us some merchandise to give away. AJ, what was the question?
The question was, who was last season's winner of the Southern Sprint Car Series? And the answer, Nigel Colvin. That's Chester, driver of the 42T car.
And the winner was?
The winner of the competition, Ange Keane from Twizel.
Good on you, Ange, and we'll be sure to get that prize pack out to you. We know you're a great fan of sprint car racing. And to continue the giveaway theme, AJ, you've brought something into the studio today. Those that will remember sprint car racing in the 80s, Roger Gleason, this is a piece of memorabilia that you'd like to give away.
Yeah, freshly commissioned. The butcher, he still follows Speedway very closely. He lives up in the States now, and this is a very limited edition tin sign. They will be available from the Track Shack, and we're going to give one away. Just log on to the Track Shack Facebook page and tell us what Kenny Rogers song inspired the name of a sprint car chassis, and that was of course the chassis that Roger Gleason used as well. Tell us that, and we'll do a lucky draw, and someone's going to get this very collectible sign.
So folks, if you want to be in the draw to win the memorabilia there, of course, as AJ said, go to the Track Shack Facebook page, put your name on the comment section there under that picture, and you'll be in the draw to win that prize. Well folks, with 2 days to go before opening night, AJ, what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's just like Christmas, isn't it? It's just around the corner. The pits are going to be heaving. There's over 80 entries across the board. Winter is over when we have our first Speedway hot dog.
Absolutely, and I think we're actually going to get a really good crowd. There's been a big marketing push on recently, and the feedback on the Facebook page is incredible. Louise, what are you looking forward to?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see which drivers kind of emerge after such a long off season, and of course the return of Ricky Brett into the TQ class and my brother's debut.
Of course, Ethan Smith, Louise's brother, is debuting the TQ, the 91C, I think it is, for the first time at Ruapuna. So fantastic to watch, and maybe we'll review his progress next week. Well, folks, that is the end of the show. And of course, as we always say here, keep your foot up it.